So in this segment, we're going to be talking about fast food outlets. Is Nando's fast food? I don't know. Being impacted by Brexit and the supply chain issues. They can blame the pandemic all day, but the simple fact is the rates of COVID are far lower than they were last year. Obviously, some places were shut down. We didn't have sitting eating, but I don't remember having food shortages. I don't remember McDonald's running out of milkshakes, even though loads of people are ordering delivery. So to argue it's the pandemic is a bit dumb when the thing that has changed is Brexit and the crumbling of our supply chains. Anyways, we'll talk about Nando's first, and we'll go on to talk about McDonald's. So Nando says it will lend some of its staff to its suppliers to help get things moving. So they've moved on staff. So they've said, look, we don't want you waiting the tables or being in the kitchen. We need you to get to the warehouse or the lorry or whatever in order to, help us get product into the shop. That's how bad it is. The restaurant group has had to shut 50 outlets temporarily after apparently running short of its staple peri-peri chicken. Now, it could be the case that it's just they can't get the supply from the production place where it's all sourced up from there to the actual shops. Or it could be the case that they're having an issue processing it, processing all the chicken. I reckon it's the first one. They're struggling to get the chicken from the processing centre to the actual shops, to the actual restaurants. The chain said delivery schedules meant the situation was changing rapidly and suggested customers check the website before they visit. It's like, can I get some peri chicken? No, it's like, alright, I'm going home. What's the point of coming here if you can't get chicken? Or you can have couscous. Get out of here. Food and other supply chains across the UK have struggled to operate normally this summer due to what has been dubbed the pandemic, but obviously we know that's not really the truth. That's the BBC. Once again, thanks guys. Staff being required to self-isolate if they have come into contact with someone with coronavirus. But that's, once the double vax rule comes in where you don't have to self-isolate, how long can they hide behind this rule for, considering that a lot of the UK, I think, are double vaxxed at this point. Delivery giant Arla had to cut back on milk deliveries to supermarkets due to the lorry driver shortage. That's the key here, the lorry driver shortage, leaving some supermarket shelves short of stock, and that's the key problem. It's not, you don't have a problem getting the food from the kitchen to, the table. You have a problem in supply, moving the products from the warehouse or the production centre to the actual restaurant. It's a supply chain issue. It's not you can't blame the pandemic for that. It doesn't make any sense because we had lorry drivers last year, running around fine, apart from the ones who wanted to get to France because obviously Delta was out there, causing havoc. So this idea of blaming the pandemic doesn't make any sense because the main problem is in supply chains. It's not with getting, enough staff in the restaurant. It's getting enough product into the restaurant. The people who write these articles get paid big bucks and it's just factually inaccurate. It's very frustrating when you see that. The problem has also affected caremakers, transport operators, restaurants and pubs. The Road Haulage Association, I feel like we talk about them every other day, have been a particular... road haulage firms have been a particular pinch point because the industry was already short of qualified drivers. And that's something we'll talk about maybe in a couple of weeks, that the British government knew we had a massive shortage of lorry drivers. They never bothered to do anything, and it's now that we've been hit by it that they realised how bad the shortage is. It went from a slight shortage into a full-blown crisis within the space of 3 months or something. At the same time, Nando's is exploring an alternative solution by offering its staff to suppliers, although it didn't say whether any had accepted the offer. I mean, you'd be working, getting goods off lorries or onto lorries? I mean, would you really want to be doing that if you just work as a waiter or a waitress or a chef in a Nando's? I don't know. Nando said the shortage were not affecting any of the outlets in Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland. Gee, I wonder why they're not impacted as much. Interesting. I wonder what makes them different to the UK, or sorry, should I say Great Britain in that case. Anyways, we're going to be talking about Mackey's, McDonald's, as Americans say, McDonald's, has run out of milkshakes and some bottled drinks at restaurants in Scotland, England and Wales, but again, not Northern Ireland. Strange, that is. They're again saying they have supply chain issues affecting the availability of shakes and bottled drinks in the 1,250 outlets. So you've got Nando's and you've got McDonald's. They mentioned KFC at the end of the video. The end of the article. It confirmed the lorry driver shortage was one reason behind the disruption. What are the other reasons? Please tell us. What were the other reasons? Come on now. You've got one there. But what are the rest of them, BBC? In a statement, as reported, the number of issues impacting retailers in the UK, one of which is the nationwide shortage of HGV drivers. A wide range of businesses have reported problems with supply chains. I mean, again, you've stated one reason, but the BBC have said there's more than one. So where are they at? Why the BBC feel like the need to defend Brexit so much is frustrating. Earlier this year, they talked about the 100,000 shortage in drivers out of a pre-pandemic total of 600,000. So there are 600,000 qualified, or were 600,000 qualified drivers in the UK, and we're 100,000 short. That's not going to be sorted anytime soon. You had 30,000 tests that weren't done thanks to the Rona, but that still doesn't. That's still 70,000 short. You had 25,000 EU drivers leave since Brexit. That still puts you around 55,000. Maybe that was the only that UK could manage with around a shortage of say 55,000, but can't survive with a shortage of 100,000. Who knows? But yeah, not great. There's a bit more here. So although famous for its fries and Big Macs, McDonald's is actually one of the biggest drinks retailers in the UK, so it's going to hit them quite badly. The shift towards the McCafe and promotion of coffee sales was a deliberate policy to sell more coffee to people outside of the normal food hours. You're not going to get a burger in the morning, but you could get a coffee. So, they do sell a lot of drinks, and this is going to be a huge problem for them, so they would be concerned. Obviously, McDonald's has the money to pay lorry drivers more. Yes, the cost will be passed on to the consumer, but they could do it. But the simple fact is, they must be paying the drivers that go there a lot as is, because they're still having problems. If all the bigger companies in the UK start offering lorry drivers, tons of money, golden hellos, all this stuff, right? There's not going to be anyone to bat for the SMEs, especially the small ones, small enterprises. So it's going to cause further problems. What the UK really has to do is increase the wages for lorry drivers, but also at the same time get more into the industry. And allow EU drivers to come back, which some of them might not come back because they don't feel welcome here, especially with that IR35 nonsense as well. So here we go. In conclusion, Nando's was forced to close about 50 restaurants after it ran out of chicken. KFC also warned that supply chain issues meant it was unable to stock some menu items. Arla had to cut back on deliveries. Haribo also reported problems resulting from the shortage of driver. Haribo's that they can get their products from Germany to the UK no problem, but the UK can't get the products into the supermarkets and the shops. Which when you realise Germany is fairly far away, they don't have any issues getting to England. It does highlight the problem we're having with supply chains. BP temporarily closed down UK sites because not enough unleaded petrol and diesel had been delivered. So that's another company that hasn't been mentioned before, another type of company, specifically we call them petrol pumps. I don't know what the official term for them would be, but they've been impacted now as well. So overall, multiple industries again being impacted, and these aren't the ones we typically mention. Normally it's like farms and stuff and supermarkets, but fast food's being impacted. And like I said, these guys have got money. They've got money. If it was a case that it's just a case of paying drivers more, they would do that. But clearly it's just a massive lack of supply in terms of drivers. There just aren't enough drivers, even if you paid them more to fill the gaps. Yeah, I mean, if KFC, increased the wages of, say, drivers by, say, another £4 an hour, right, and no one else matched that, KFC would have enough drivers, but they would just be nicking drivers off McDonald's or Nando's or whoever. And so that shortage still remains. And it's great for the drivers who are going to get a lot more money, hopefully, but it's bad for the economy in general because things aren't moving. So what the UK has to do is allow back EU drivers with no visa restrictions, but also they need to start funding. They need to make getting a lorry driving license for free, because otherwise people aren't going to go into an industry which is incredibly difficult. Also, they need to make more access for public toilets and public facilities for lorry drivers as well, because you can imagine if you're driving 3-4 hours and there's nowhere for you to go to the toilet or whatever, that's a massive problem. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.